Many thought Kansas shouldn't be here. Instead, they thought it should be Missouri. After all, the Tigers did beat the Jayhawks in the bitter rivalry to end the season. But hey, it's the Jayhawks in the FedEx Orange Bowl against Virginia Tech, who certainly deserves to be here as winners of the ACC Championship. Hey, how are you, folks? Jason Horwitz, glad to be with you on CBSSports.com, breaking down the FedEx Orange Bowl, a game you can see on January 3rd. And for more, we turn to Spencer Tillman from Houston, our expert of everything, the man we've turned to all season long. And Spence, is that the biggest overwhelming theme to this when you look at this game, the fact that Virginia Tech certainly earned its way here and Kansas, to many people, backed its way in?
Jason, that's a very good point, because I think at this stage of the game it does matter. And I believe Kansas, despite the fact that they had a workmanlike approach to this season, has got to go into this game with a little bit of a disillusioned state, because, number one, they aren't the champions of the Big 12. They didn't play Oklahoma. They didn't play Texas. You got to be concerned about that, and you can't ignore it. Meantime, Virginia Tech beat a pretty darn good BC team, and they started to emerge. All aspects of their game were hitting on all 8 cylinders. They returned a punt for a touchdown against BC in that championship game in the ACC. The special teams was doing a bang-up job. Their defense, ranked 12th in the nation, doing a tremendous job turning the ball over. So I think that that's got to be a problem for Kansas coming into this ball game.
And that's certainly the matchup to watch in this game, is the fact that Kansas's offense has been so good all season long, running and passing the football, and Virginia Tech's defense, which has played like Virginia Tech's defense all season except the one game against LSU.
Well, it's going to be beautiful to watch because, again, Virginia Tech, 43 sacks. That's near the tops in the nation. And we know what Kansas does. They're going to throw the ball out and down the field with Reese, their quarterback. And they've got a pretty good running back that helps them reduce that pressure and achieve balance with the running game. But I think this Virginia Tech defense is in a position right now where they can really finish tremendously strong, because they've got a strength where I believe that Kansas has a weakness. And this is a classic strength versus weakness approach to this ball game. And again, I think it's going to be fun to watch. It's going to be entertaining. I think Frank Beamer, in talking to him a couple of weeks ago, he thinks this is going to be an entertaining ball game.
Well, it certainly should be. It's the BCS situation. Since they went to the BCS in 1998, it's only the second time that the Big 12 has met the ACC in the Orange Bowl. The other was for the national title, and Florida State didn't show up for that game. Oklahoma pounded them 13-2. In this situation, though, you've got really two good stories. And with Virginia Tech, the rallying cry all season was remember the 32 people that were killed on campus last year. And the other part is Kansas. Nobody thought Kansas played football until this season. I mean, it really is two good stories coming together, or at least the end of a good story for Virginia Tech, and a great football season for Kansas. Forget who they didn't play.
Yeah, it is a great story. And again, I think a backstory to all of this is a guy who was behind the scenes kind of facilitating it all. A guy by the name of Lou Perkins, who formerly was at UConn, if you remember, and we certainly know the success they've had. So he had a 13-year run there and then comes over to Kansas and then facilitates the success there. He's a great football man, and that's kind of a nugget, folks. You got that absolutely for free. That's a lot of the reason why this Kansas team has been successful, is because you've got a guy behind the scenes really putting it all together. Not to take anything away from Mark Mangino and what he's done. He's a tremendous coach, but you got to have people behind the scenes making it all happen.
You certainly do, and then you also have to have players on the field. And you mentioned Todd Reesing briefly, but he turned out to have a fantastic season, Spence. When you watch him play, I know you hit on the fact that he also has some running backs behind him, especially Mick Anderson, but Reesing is the catalyst to this offense to put this back onto the field. What makes him so good?
Well, again, it's that reoccurring theme. This year has been the year of the quarterback. And, of course, we had a quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy. I think what makes Reesing special is his field presence. First of all, he understands the offense. And when you understand the offense, and this is something that Joe Montana used to teach us all the time, he said you can look at half the field, Jason, and know instantly what's going on the backside just by counting the bodies and the numbers. And, yeah, they may throw some zone blitz combinations in there that really mess your count up. But at the end of the day, it's that pre-snap read that's going to give you a head start and dissecting the defense and at least moving in the right direction. And then it's up to the quarterback. If he has to move around a little bit to continue to play and extend the play and keep it alive, that's on his shoulders. And Reesing can do that. And he's got great receivers, too, that can help him. So I think it's, number one, his field presence and his intelligence and his ability to know what's happening on the defensive side of the ball.
On the other side, keeping with the theme of strength of the quarterback, for Virginia Tech, it wasn't a strength at the beginning. They switched back and forth. But down the stretch, they went to a 2-quarterback system, and that really propelled them, Spence, to finish as ACC champs.
You're right, Jason. It propelled them, and it also made it difficult for BC to defend them, mainly because you've got twice as much from a defensive standpoint to prepare for. You know, Tyrod Taylor's going to pull it down and run it a little bit. You know, he's not going to hurt you. He's not as accurate, obviously, as Glennon is, but he can get the ball from point A to point B relatively easily. Intermediate routes, 7 to 10, and even some 15-yard pass completions he's safe with. But again, Glennon comes in, he gives you the deep threat. He also can move around a little bit as well. So it's a nightmare for a defensive coordinator to come in with a game plan that's going to totally shut these guys down. That's a tough tandem to defense.
Spence, it's the first New Year's Day bowl game for Kansas since the 1968 season. I know you don't think they deserve to be there. Well, it's not a New Year's Day game. It's January 3rd. But will they possibly come out victorious?
It's possible. And again, that's why you play the game. And I know that's cliche, but I've got to believe that the Virginia Tech ball club is playing great now. All phases of the game, Beamer ball is off the chart right now. Again, I had a conversation with Coach Beamer a couple of weeks ago about what makes them so special right now. I don't think anybody can beat them. And not, you know, in terms of understanding what makes them tick, it is their special teams that triggers everything else. And that's uncommon because they're not really sexy on offense. They're balanced, okay, and their defense plays sound. But their special teams that really sets them off. And right now, all phases of their games are working extremely well, Jason.
And if Brandon Orr, to keep that balance, the running back for Virginia Tech has 100 yards, you're going to see Virginia Tech in the win column. I agree with you on that one, if that happens. All right, sir. It's been fun all season. I really appreciate it and look forward to talking to you again next season.
All right, Jason. We'll see you, my friend.
Folks, it's the FedEx Orange Bowl kicking off January 3rd, beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern. And for more, be sure to stay with CBSSports.com. Check out everything on the CBS Audience Network, including who the experts at CBSSports.com pick. For Spencer Tillman, I'm Jason Horowitz. Take care.